The Vanished Place. I visited Seongwan town in Chungnam province a couple of years ago, and I discovered that one of my unforgettable places was being destroyed. A fork crane was shaving the mountain with its metal claws, and a bulldozer was pushing the rocks to level the ground. When I drove by the same place the following year, I saw a track field and skyscrapers that were being constructed. I pulled over to the side of the road and recorded my memories as I scoped out the place. Perhaps it is the benefit of the civilization that abruptly came like a hurricane. The isolated town that I never thought would develop was accepting the great improvements. However, through this development, a small mountain that I could never forget has vanished. In the past, this mountain was called Biseok Mountain, defined as Tombstone Mountain, because a memorial tower was built for Japanese soldiers during the Japanese colonial era. Biseok Mountain was as big as 2 or 3 hills. The mountaintop was shaved and later became a plateau resembling a small track field. There, I also found a half of a memorial tower standing in the middle of the plateau. Despite the tower's obtrusive, hideous appearance, the children would come to play ball games, soldier games, and wrestle with one another. It eventually became a man-made park, just like how Biseok Mountain was constructed. Then, after the country was liberated, not much attention was given to the park. Dead grass smothered the field, waiting to be plucked out. From the entrance of Biseok Mountain to the mountain ridge, there used to be hundreds of cherry blossom trees towering over the field. Every spring season, the mountain used to be covered beautifully with cherry blossoms. There were also 4 pine trees near the memorial tower. One pine tree looked like a scholar wearing a gown, dancing with his arm opened wide. Another pine tree was slanted like a drunken man, stumbling in his walk. Because of this, the children used to climb up the pine tree and pretended like they were riding a horse. The pine trees brought aesthetic harmony to the park. In the spring, the mountain was filled with cherry blossoms. When the flowers withered away, it was a paradise of green and blue pine trees. When the flowers bloomed, I used to go to the peak of the Biseok Mountain. I would look down at the crimson flower field that surrounded the town office built with the pretty red bricks. The red tin roof of my school possessed a charm of its own. The town office and the school were divided by oriental arborvitae tree standing like a fence, leaning against Biseok Mountain. On the opposite side, 5-day village market was located next to the town office near Biseok Mountain. My tin roof house was positioned near the town office as well. Since 5-day village market was just across the street from my house, the front yard used to be filled with neighbors when the market opened. I lived here while attending the elementary school for 5 years. I usually hung out in Bisong Mountain after school and always found my friends there. Whether my friends were there or not, I enjoyed climbing Bisong Mountain. My second oldest sister used to find me there if I didn't come home early. I felt as though my young mind was being liberated when I climbed up to the mountain top. I would even forget my hunger while spending time there. Yes, the sight was breathtaking when I was at the apex. I was able to see the whole view of the 5-day village market in my neighborhood. You might think that I would snoop around and watch what the market has on sale, but my father didn't want me to go around the shops. So, I would go up Bisong Mountain when the market opened. The neighborhood near town office looked very stable and safe from the mountaintop. There was a railroad to the west. When the steam trains passed by, black smoke used to come up to Bisong Mountain like clouds rising up one after another. Then, I'd smell the burning coals that the wind brought. The train would disappear after a while, but it was a great sight when it passed through the cherry blossom trees. It looked like a beautiful photo captured by a camera. Since my school was near Bisok Mountain, I used to go directly to the peak during lunchtime. Unlike most of the students, some children couldn't bring their lunch boxes from home. Being one of them, I don't remember eating lunch at all. Thus, I went up to the mountain daily and drank water from a well to get rid of my hunger pains. Since no one came up to the mountain during lunchtime, it was a good hiding place for me to escape from people. I was able to see my tin roof house toward the end of the 5-day village market from the mountaintop. I'd see my mom carry my younger siblings on her back and go out to peddle goods. My dad would often follow the 5-day village market to earn some money. Still, it wasn't enough to feed all 8 children in the house. I would stare at my empty house for a moment and then plop on the grass to look up the sky. Every time I climbed up Bisong Mountain, the sky looked clear like an autumn sky. When I saw the clouds, I sometimes wished them to be flower buns. My oldest sister got married early, and the second oldest sister worked at a match factory. The factory was located across from my house, next to the school. The workers were always busy drying up the wooden matchsticks in front of the factory. My second oldest sister worked there consistently after she finished elementary school. Her job was to clump the wooden matchsticks in bundles before they were dipped in red phosphorus. One day, the owner invited my sister to the house for lunch when he found her without anything to eat. When she came home to boast about what the owner had done for her, I envied her greatly. I peeped into my sister's factory the next day during the lunch hour. When I found my sister, she was eating lunch in the owner's kitchen again. She gave me a sharp look when she saw me near the kitchen. Then she hinted me to get out of the place with the cold, scary glare, so I quickly turned around to exit the factory. Then I sprinted to my hiding place, Bisok Mountain. I was always scared of my second oldest sister. She was tall with a loud voice. Also, if she wasn't satisfied with something, she used to scream and even hit the younger siblings. As usual, I lay on the grass field of Bisok Mountain. I was hungrier than any other days since I ran. I could even hear my stomach growl since I was breathless. I was getting scared as the night approached. I knew my sister wouldn't leave me alone when she came home. I remembered her indignant look, then I regretted going to the factory during lunch. What could I do? It was already too late. Orange and red lights reflected on the clouds as the sun came down, and I imagined my sister's exasperated expression in the sky. I was scared. I closed my eyes and fell asleep, feeling my tears rolling down to both of my ears. When I woke up, the sun had come down and stars were shining in the sky. To the west, there was a long yellow streak of sunlight that declared the start of the night. Of course, I missed all my afternoon classes. Then, I awoke again to someone shaking me, and my eyes opened only to witness the enormous face of my sister. I sprang up quickly out of fear, but she held me and began to apologize. She put something wrapped with a piece of paper in my hand, and I started crying. She began to cry with me. Then she said not to come back to the factory again. I nodded, but I couldn't stop crying. As we were coming down the mountain, I opened what she gave me. It was a gigantic jawbreaker candy. When the Korean War broke out, my family and I moved to my father's hometown, Wolsan. Time has passed and things have changed, but I still have memories from Bisok Mountain engraved in my heart. During when my bones grew and hardened, Bisok Mountain was my close friend. It became a memorable place where my character was greatly influenced. It was a gentle cradle that subtly instilled wisdom in me to overcome my hunger. I missed the grass that offered me sympathy as I pressed my stomach against it and gazed upon the sky, and dismissed the dire poverty and negligence that birthed hunger pains. The memories are floating away and ever wrinkling my aging heart. I guess even the beautiful Bisok Mountain that I never thought would change couldn't endure the fight with time. It grieves me to see the mountain being destroyed little by little at the hands of modern society, a cross-section view of nature's powerlessness. Feeling sorry for the vanishing place that once occupied my life, I couldn't stop the rush of emotions flooding my eyes. My wish was to bring my precious grandchildren to Bisok Mountain and tell their grandfather's stories. However, there remains an aching void, knowing that the place has disappeared without a trace. Yet, I alone treasure the memories of Bisong Mountain and reminisce again.